Another mistake we make as e-commerce business owners is that we're not measuring our add to cart rates. How's it guys, welcome to another episode of e-commerce mistakes, and this is episode number 5. Today we're going to unpack, another mistake that e-commerce business owners make, and that is that we don't measure our add to cart rates. And what I mean by that is literally doing the calculation or looking at the metrics that indicate how many people come to the product page and how many of them actually decide to add the product to their cart. Okay, because that's really important to understand, because there's certain things that you can do to improve this. And this is really the first barrier that you need to break through in order to get someone to spend money on your store. Okay, so it's really a situation of if you break down the process realistically, step by step, and you have to re-engineer someone typing in their credit card details all the way back, then a couple of things need to happen. Okay, yes, they need to come to the site, they need to look at the product page, but a very crucial thing that needs to happen is that they need to add the product to their cart. And the more add to carts you can then essentially get, the more people are going to initiate a checkout. The more people that initiate a checkout, the higher the odds of you actually getting a higher number of transactions at the end of every month. So that is why measuring your add to cart rates are so important. And we're going to quickly break down some of the key benchmarks that you should be looking at when it comes to your store and what you can do to improve, the add to cart rate. And what you can do to improve the add to cart rate for your own e-commerce business. Cool, so we use a platform called Little Data, and what I love about Little Data is that they've got a lot of additional insight about e-commerce businesses. Now, what we can see is the average add to cart rate for e-commerce stores, and we can see that a good add to cart rate would be anything from 8.6%. That would put you in the top 20% of stores. So if you're not sitting with an 8 to 6% add to cart rate, meaning let's, for example, say 100 people come to the product page, and if not at least 8 to 9 of them add a product to their cart, then you can improve on certain things when it comes to your product page, and that's what we're going to look at in a second. Now, if your add to cart rate is higher than 10.9%, then you're in the best top 10 performing stores in the world, based on obviously, the insight that they've gathered. Now, on the flip side of the coin, a bad add to cart rate would mean anything between 2.7% and 1.8% would really put you at the bottom 20% of all businesses, and 1.8% would put you in the worst performing stores. So anything between 1.8 and 2.7 is around the worst 20% of stores. Anything under 1.8 means that you've got a lot of work to do. And there's a lot of things that you need to improve when it comes to the user experience of your store in order to get more people to add products to their carts. Right, so where are you going to find your add to cart rate? And one platform that you can use is Google Analytics. This is going to give you an indication of what's actually happening with the checkout process. Now, what you're going to do is if you open your Google Analytics and you've got an e-commerce business and you've set up your e-commerce tracking, which I hope you have done, then you go to conversions, e-commerce store, and shopping behavior. Now what we're going to look at is sessions with add to carts. And we can see here that this client of ours has got a 7.25% add to cart rate. So if we look at this client's add to cart rate and we compare that to other stores, we know that the benchmark is 5%. They're sitting on over 7%. So that puts them very close to the top 20% of stores across the world. Now, there's still room for improvement, but at least we know that we are on the right track when it comes to getting people to add products to their carts. So again, if you wanted to look at your own add to cart rate, then you go to analytics, conversions, e-commerce, and shopping behavior. All right, so let's talk about some ways that you can improve your add to cart rate. And again, guys, like I talk about this a lot, there are 2 pillars to really growing your e-commerce store, and that's leveraging technology like Facebook ads, Google ads, email, and all these other things. But the second pillar, and it's the most important pillar, and that is psychology. All right, that equivalents to 80% of the actual calculation of these 2 pillars. And it's obviously the more dominant force and the most important pillar. So when we break down psychology, we've spoken about urgency and we've spoken about scarcity. Those are 2 things that you can implement on the product page in order to get more people to add products to their carts. And if you haven't seen that video, go look at episode number 4, because we unpack exactly how to use scarcity and how to use urgency in order to get more people to actually buy from your store. Right, so aside from that, another thing that you can consider is really improving your copy, really looking at your copy and going, what can I write differently than most stores in order to really resonate with the person that is visiting the specific product page? Is there anything that I can say that can really get them moving from an emotional perspective? Is there anything that you can add to the copy that's going to make them feel that this product is really going to benefit their lives? And I think that touches on, tip number 3, which is really focusing more on the benefits than the features. A lot of people focus on the features like, hey, this is how big it is, this is the size, this is the performance, this is the... And essentially not every single person that browses or shops online has a very analytical and logical mindset when it comes to these things. When you are shopping for certain products, unless you are a tech-savvy person looking for specific specs in a laptop, then ideally you still need to reference, okay, this is the kind of processor it's got, this is the kind of RAM it's got, this is essentially what graphics card it's got in. All those things are obviously really important, but if most people who shop online don't really know what kind of specs they need. So really articulating the benefits of the specs is what's going to get them moving when it comes to making a decision and buying a laptop. So as opposed to saying this has got a 3.1 gigahertz processor, it's saying this thing is 30% faster than most laptops, because that becomes a benefit. You can avoid the wheel of death with this laptop, because the odds of you actually seeing the wheel of death after buying this machine is 0 to none. It's really just a way of positioning the features in a way that people actually understand it in a layman's terms, if you will, that's going to get them to essentially move and make that decision of adding the product to their cart, if that makes sense. Another small little tactic that I love using is just making sure that your font size is really easy to read on mobile. Like a lot of people have small font sizes, increasing the font size and making sure you've got a lot of line breaks and empty spaces so that it's easier to read will really help the customer absorb the information that you're trying to present. The whole idea here is that you're trying to articulate the value of a product, right? Now, if you're going to make your description look like a long WhatsApp joke, the odds are that people are going to bounce off. Because how often do you really finish a long WhatsApp joke? It's difficult to read. It's very energy draining. So if you can increase the font, use your line break strategically, and combine that with strategic white space, you are going to increase the odds of people actually consuming the information and therefore focusing on articulating the product, the value of the product a lot better. Another thing that people tend to neglect is really removing the risk for a customer. And I like to use this analogy. It's really a situation where if you had to go into business with somebody, right? And you had to say, okay, cool, let's build this business 50-50. But now your partner says, cool, we're going to do this 50-50. But you know what? I think the lease should be on your name. I think the loan should be in your name. I think, you should be the one that is responsible for paying all the staff. And you should be the one who is taking all the risk. And then, if there's profit left, then we split it 50-50. Now, does that really seem like a business deal that you want to get into? No. Now, it's exactly the same with your customers, right? You need to try your best to eliminate risk for them. And this is a great opportunity to just talk about Takealot, because that's what they do extremely well. When you buy from Takealot, most of the risk has been removed, because people know if I don't like this product, I can send it back and I can get my money back in 3 different ways. I can either get credit, I can get a voucher, I can get my money back into my account, or I can just swap the product for something else. And that is a great way of eliminating risk for your customers, which will increase the amount of transactions that actually flows through the store. And removing risk could be anything from, helping them with returns, providing them with guarantees and warranties, anything really that you think is creating a barrier between the customer going, I love this product, I want to buy it, and you know what, I need to hold back because I'm not sure about X or Y. Those barriers you need to try and understand, and then you need to try and break them down with a warranty or a guarantee or a free return or whatever it may be. And then the last thing that you can do, There's a ton of things that we can talk about, but another tactic that I love using is what we call a sticky add to cart button, meaning that as the user scrolls or down on the page, the add to cart button actually sticks to the top or to the bottom of the mobile device or on the desktop screen. That just reinforces that they can, with the push of a button, add this product to their cart, which will naturally increase the amount of people that actually click the button. So from my side, those are just a couple of tactics that you can use to increase your add to cart rate. As of today, make sure that you start measuring this rate, because it's the first step that you need to take in order to really start improving, the whole checkout process. But most importantly, help you turn more visitors into customers. Cool, guys. So if you found any value in this video, I'd love to know. Just drop it in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation with you. From my side, also just give me an idea of what kind of videos you would like to see moving forward. From my side, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.